I think we're good. Let's see. Okay, give me just a sec and I'm going to get everything set up and share it, and then we'll get started. Okay, that, and we should be good now. Okay. Let's see, make sure everything's going. All right, YouTube's up. Okay, so, hey y'all, welcome to Redneck Economics. My name is Stevie King Young, and tonight I just wanted to talk about Jimmy Dore's call for action. Now, I don't really have too much of a problem with Jimmy Dore. I really like the stuff that he does, the stuff that he talks about. I like that he, when he interviews people, that he really holds, his guests, feet to the fire. So, I mean, his heart's in the right place. I know that he only wants what we're wanting and what we need, and that he's trying to fight for that. So I say this with, the best of criticisms. But I'm going to go ahead and play the clip. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to play a little bit of it, maybe jump around in there and talk about, his call for action. So but before we do that, I'm going to check in with the chat. Let's see, any relation to Justin King? That's from Benjamin Henderson. Is that Bo the Fifth Column? Not that I'm aware of. I'm not really sure about my family history, but I doubt that we're related. But he's a cool guy. I love his show, his channel, and the stuff that he talks about. He's a smart cookie. Who else we have in here? Bob Swanick, Bluebell. Oh, hey, Bluebell. Krillin. Yeah, Jimmy's trying to make a living. I get it. There's certain topics that he steers away from. But I don't consider him an enemy or anything like that. I mean, So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing the clip, and I'm going to probably pause this frequently to talk about what he's saying, because it just, to me, it just really doesn't make sense, like what he's trying to do. So I'm going to go ahead, bring that up. Ooh, if I can find it. There it is. Okay. So, well, before I get into that, I just did an interview earlier today. Well, not earlier, but like maybe an hour ago, with Roar Media, Shanda, the accidental activist. I was on her channel. She interviewed me and just kind of, nothing too serious. We just talked about, how I got started doing this, and, talked about some West Virginia news and things like that. But it was so much fun. She's great, and Oz was there too, and he did all the tech stuff, because I have no idea how to do any of that stuff. So very glad he was there to do all that stuff. But it was great being on there, and I'm very, very thankful that they're giving me this opportunity to reach out to more people, and to help me grow my channel a little bit, and teach me the technical stuff to help me with doing all this, because I'm not tech savvy. I don't know any of this stuff. So they're really kind of taking me under their wing and helping me out. So I really appreciate that. So just a quick shout out to them. With that being said, let's jump into this. Share with sound, and let's go.
Medicare for all in the House of Representatives. What? All that is required to get a vote on Medicare for all in the House of Representatives is for on Medicare for all. I have got an actual plan to get us a vote on Medicare for all in the House of Representatives. What? All that is required to get a vote on Medicare for all in the House of Representatives is for 15 congressional progressives to use their power. Will they?
No.
Because America needs Medicare for all right now. Okay? We're in the middle of a pandemic. As people are losing their employment, they also lose their health care. This doesn't happen in any other first world industrial country on the planet. And just so you know, what is happening right now, the government denying you health care in the middle of a pandemic, this is not normal. No matter what they say, this is not acceptable or normal. Congress just gave trillions of dollars to the top billionaires, subsidizing Wall Street's frenzy of profiteering while millions of families are on the financial brink.
Not just on the financial brink. Okay, let's get that set straight right now. There are millions of people evicted. There are millions of homeless people. I mean, people are even if you're not homeless, you are, a hair on a gnat's ass away from losing everything. You're one medical emergency, one, part on your car, breaking down from losing everything. This is how dire things are right now. It's not a matter of, don't go to the movies as often as you used to. Don't buy as many coffees from Starbucks. That's not where we're at right now. Right now, people are like, eating every other day in order to, survive. So it's not even a matter of, making it or almost, losing everything. A lot of people already have lost everything. And that's for the people that didn't already lose everything in the last time that we had something like this under Barack Obama, who lost their houses, people who lost their houses and their jobs and everything else. So, we just keep losing and losing and losing more until, this is where we're at right now. And no, we're the only first world country, supposedly, that doesn't have healthcare for their citizens. Israel, the country that we fund, they have Medicare for all for their citizens. Do we? No, but we're giving money to them and they can afford it. It costs less money to do this than it is to have a for-profit system, but that's not their concern. Their concern is making money for stockholders. And once you realize that, and once you understand that everything they do is for stockholders, everything makes sense. Everything they do makes sense because it's never about us. It's always about them. So I'll let him finish.
Does America need Medicare for all? America wants Medicare for all. You think I'm kidding? There it is. The solution is one of the most popular policies in the nation. One of the most popular policies of the nation, which is supported by overwhelming majorities of Democratic Party voters and supported by the majority of Republican Party voters. Yet the Democratic Party majority Speaker of the House.
Now, I'm going to touch on this real quick because me and James, from Montauk, we did the numbers on this. We crunched the numbers on the people that support Medicare for all. And it's the majority of Americans, the majority of Republicans, the majority of Democrats. Everybody wants this. And yet we still don't have it. We've been screaming it from the mountaintops. We've been, writing our congressmen. We've been voting the right ways. And yet we still don't have it.
House has never put Medicare for all on the floor for a vote. Who do they really work for?
Bernie Sanders, the first time he ran for president, he was our ticket for Medicare for all. That's pretty much, one of the biggest things that he was running on, right? So he was running on that. And that's why he was on fire. That's why everybody was supporting him. West Virginia went for him. Everybody was going for him. And that's why the DNC had to shut him down. And since then, he got his mind right. And now he's behind Hillary Clinton and he's behind Joe Biden and he's pro-Democratic Party. Since then, he has put the Democratic Party in front of any of the other needs. But back then, that's what he was running on. Back before he got his mind right, he was running on that. And that's why he was so popular. That's why they had to go so nefarious during that election to screw him over, not him, us. That's why they had to screw us over, because they were never going to let that happen, because they make way too much money by getting money from the pharmaceutical company. Not to mention that they own stocks in the pharmaceutical company, like Joe Manchin and others. They make bank off of that, not just from the stocks that they own, but from the kickbacks they get from the industry in the form of campaign contributions. So that's why nobody is fighting for this. But that's why Bernie Sanders was so popular back then, is because he was actually talking about this.
And now, Democrats have nominated Nancy Pelosi to be the Speaker of the House again without a challenge. To win the House speakership, Pelosi needs to secure the majority of the full House. The House votes the first week of January. This is our leverage. Now is our time. It's our time now. I call upon all elected House members, all the members who ran on Medicare for all, and for all the members who are part of the Progressive Caucus in Congress, all the members of the squad. What we need to do now is we need to work together as a movement. What do we need? We need 15 Democrats. That's all we need. 15 Democrats to tell Nancy Pelosi that you will not vote for her as Speaker unless Medicare for all is put on the House floor for a vote. That's it. It's really that simple. Now is the time for progressives to exercise their power, play hardball, and use their power for the benefit of their constituents. Pramila Jayapal's Medicare for All legislation, House Resolution 1384. I want you to tell Nancy Pelosi to put that legislation on the floor for a vote. Make Pelosi promise on video, in writing, or in public that she's going to do that. No vote for Nancy Pelosi unless Medicare for all is put on the House floor for a vote. There's nearly 100 members of the Progressive Caucus. There's 100 members. Look at this. We only need 15 members to pull this off. 15 members withholding their vote for Nancy Pelosi will show that progressives are willing to exert power to help the people. Force Nancy Pelosi to show the entire country what's more important to her. Putting her own speakership at risk by following donors' orders, or getting Americans health care. This is where you force progressive House members to reveal who they answer to. Do they answer to their constituents, or do they answer to the party bosses?
I mean, we already know the answer to that, don't we? Don't we? I mean, they've done study after study. It's been shown that it does not matter what we think. What we think and what we want has never mattered to them. Instead, all we do is ask them for what we need, and they tell us we can't afford it because we have to give more money to the military industrial complex. We have to give money for bailouts. They don't care what we think. They don't care how we vote. They don't care. It's irrelevant to them. It's absolutely irrelevant how we think, how we feel, whether or not we're behind them or not. I know that there's a gigantic propaganda, PR campaign behind the squad, and they get to take pictures with gays and black people and whoever they want, so they look like they're inclusive. But at the end of the day, they vote against us, and they vote for Nancy Pelosi to be in charge, and they vote however they need to vote in order to keep that cash flow going, in order to keep their seat. They don't give a single shred of fuck about us. That's where we're at. And it doesn't matter how many letters you write to these machines. And that's all they are. They're glorified calculators, because all they care about is how to increase profits. So to me, they're not even machines. They're not robots. They're just calculators. All they're doing is crunching numbers to see how much money they can make off of it. And that's who they support. And if they can't make money off of us, you can fucking bet that you're not going to be heard. If you don't have money, you don't get heard. So we can write, we can scream, we can protest, and none of it's going to make a lick of difference, because you know why? We are not funding them. Until we hit them in their wallets, nothing is going to change. Absolutely not a goddamn thing.
The Progressive Caucus, the Squad, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Mark Pocan, Debbie Dingell, Ilhan Omar, Chewy Garcia,
Bills.
Cori Bush, Katie Porter, Jamal Bowman, Rashida Tlaib, Karen Bass, Jamie Raskin, Marie Newman, and Barbara Lee. That's all we need. We need progressive voters to push every one of them. If you voted for them, please ask them, are you fighters or are...
I'm going to have to cut them off right there. Do not ask. You demand. You tell, and you tell them how it's going to be. We don't ask. We don't ask. We don't ask. That's what the problem is because we've been asking for these things for at least 100 years. Some of these issues, we've been asking for these changes for over 100 years. And we keep asking, begging, please give me a scrap, sir. Please let me have some Medicare for all. Please let me have a little bit of trickle down economics. No, I'm not asking. I'm telling them. I am telling them either they're going to give it to us or they're not going to get their funding. Until we can find out a way that we can work together to cut off their funding, none of this is going to change. We have to make their bank accounts hurt. I mean, there are several ways. I have some ideas about that, but that's what it's going to come down to, because that's the only thing that is controlling them is money, 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 money. Just like they use us and they control us through money, right? What kind of jobs are we promised? What kind of health care do we get? They control us through money, and they're controlled by the same thing. That's the capitalistic system that we live in. And writing your congressman and telling them, well, I'm just not going to vote for you. That's not going to work. You have to demand it, and you have to actually back it up with a real, consequence to that. Not voting for them doesn't mean shit when they keep getting voted in anyway. We don't want a Biden. We don't want a Trump. We don't want any of these people, but yet that's who we have. So please tell me how voting, for these people is going to change anything, and putting your faith in a party is going to change anything, or putting your faith in the squad is going to change anything. You can yell at them all day. You can have as many protests as you want, but until we hit them in the pocketbooks, they ain't going to change a damn thing. So let me go ahead and let him finish up.
Are you careerists? Are you activists for the people, or are you posers on Twitter? Is healthcare just a carrot to dangle in front of voters so you can win your next election? Or are you going to fight for it? Here's your chance. People's lives hang in the balance. And I call on everybody in independent media to join this mission. You want a solution? You want an idea? You want a new thought on how we can handle this problem? Here it is. And everybody who has come after me with bad faith attacks, I forgive you.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know.
Join me in Medicare for All. Join me in this. Anybody I've gone after who sincerely wants to see Medicare for All enacted, forgive me. We need to work.
No, I mean, I like what he's doing right there. Is like, he's putting out the olive branch, right? And that's good because there's a lot of people, that we don't agree on a lot of things, but you know what? As long as they want to work together with us, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And we should do more of that. We should have more olive branches out there. So, I do like that part of what he's doing is like, I don't care what you've said about me. I don't care what I've said about you. Let's just try to work together to change this thing. And that's the kind of attitude that I like. So, good on him for that. But I don't know where this is going to go for him.
Together. I take no ownership of this. We do this together. This is beyond just our YouTube channels or whatever. We must realize that this is not a fight over abstract concepts or nuanced ideological differences. This is Medicare for All. People's actual lives depend on us doing this. Workers, young people, mothers, students, our friends, our neighbors, our own families.
Yes.
We got to call upon progressives who are elected officials, the elected officials that you helped get elected.
No. Now, I got to disagree with him on that because a lot of these people didn't win by being elected. They took advantage of, voter ID laws. They took advantage of shut down polling systems. They took advantage of weighted votes. They took advantage of throwing votes out. And a lot of these people made it into office, not because they were popular, but they were first past the post and that they, did their shenanigans like Debbie Wasserman Schultz in order to stay in office. So a lot of these people didn't really necessarily make it because they were that popular with the people. I mean, for the most part, how is it? Think about this. How is it that we hate our politicians when they're supposedly elected by the people? Then why is it that they're so useless and so hated and so untrustworthy? Because it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter who we want. Because if it came down to that, we would have had a lot of different people in office right now. Trump wouldn't be in office right now.
Call upon them with one voice. No vote for Nancy Pelosi unless Medicare for All is put on the House floor for a vote.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this.
And if we are able to do this, I will take back everything I've ever.
Now, look, Nancy Pelosi is not elected by us to be the Speaker of the House. She is elected to do that by the Democrats that supposedly we elect. So we have no control of whether or not Nancy Pelosi is going to be leader of the House. We have no control when it comes to who gets elected because they have ways of manipulating that. When it comes to voting, Republican or Democrat, they'll weight the votes, they'll throw them out, they'll shut down polling stations. They have ways, gerrymandering. This is all part of the hybrid regime, that they have in place. That democracy is undermined to where we don't get what we need through purely democratic means, right? So, what can come from doing what Jimmy Dore is. Now, there might be some good from it. Now, we could actually do what he's saying, and we could expose these people for being shills. We could pressure them, we could ask them, we could write to them, protest, march, whatever, okay, in order to get them to do what he's asking. But are they going to listen to us? Of course not. They're never going to listen to us. They never have, they never will. So what's that going to mean? We could expose them for being the frauds that they are, that they're not progressives. But I think there's enough information out there to already prove that, right? So whatever it is, I mean, AOC, she was supposed to be going up against, Nancy Pelosi when she first got in office. She was, giving her hell and all this stuff, right? That was the narrative. She's fighting back against Nancy Pelosi. Well, she got in office and she keeps voting for Nancy Pelosi and everything that she wants. And nobody seems to see through the sham that is AOC. I mean, I wouldn't say nobody, a lot of people do, but there's still that narrative, and there's still people that believe in the squad, that they think that they're on their side because they take pictures next to, Muslims and gay people. It's all a giant PR scheme. And so, are we going to really sway anybody by exposing them as frauds when they've already been exposed as frauds 10 times over? I doubt it. I mean, but maybe because Medicare for all hits close to home. So, I mean, I'm not going to change what I'm saying. Look, I've always been against Nancy Pelosi. I've always been against AOC because I could see through exactly what she was doing. I could see through these people, for the most part. I did fall for Bernie back in 2016, but I think, back then he was actually fighting for something. And after the DNC, I think something in him changed. I don't know what they did or what happened, what they promised him, what they threatened him with, but after that, he's a husk of a man that he was. I mean, you can see the difference between the time that he ran for president this time versus last time. He lacked all the fire. He was all party, no substance. So, I mean, look, I've already said my piece on Bernie. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I mean, look, asking for things is not going to get us anywhere. We have to demand it. We have to make it hurt, because that's what they do to us. They make things hurt for us to bend to their will. That, they get rid of our jobs. They send our jobs overseas. They won't, raise the minimum wage. They won't give us health care. They do all these things to control how we act and what we do. And because they put pressure on us, a real kind of pressure. They know our weak points, and that's where they hit us. And their only weak points is their bank accounts, is their super PACs. So until we start hitting that, I mean, we're not going to get anywhere with this. So I just don't understand what is he asking us to do? Vote the right way? Ask them to give us stuff? I mean, we've been asking for things for over a century. So I'm lost. I mean, what does he think this is going to get? And even if it does make it past the House of Representatives, it has to make it past the Senate. It has to make it past the president. And with Joe Biden or whoever his babysitter is that's signing the papers, whoever that is that's in charge, Kamala Harris or Jill Biden, who knows? We're not going to get this. There's too many people with too much money that is controlling things. So we need to actually, stop giving them our labor, stop buying their products. We have to hit them in the wallet. So let me go over to chat and see who else here. We got RSFO, Benjamin Henderson, sorry. Beverly Jensen, Bluebell, Peter Moranchi, I hope I'm saying that right. Michael Mathern. So let's see what everybody's saying in here. Graham Elwood's in here. Damn. Hey, good to see you. Hell yeah. Hislam. So yeah, I mean, look, Jimmy Dore's a good dude, and I know that he's fighting for the right things, but I just don't understand, what's going to come from this. I mean, I don't discourage anybody from any kind of political activism. It's just that it needs to be a coordinated effort. And just asking them or demanding from them that they do these changes is not going to be enough. It's going to take a coordinated effort. Like, we're going to have to hit them at the voting booth. We're going to have to hit them with protests and marches. We have to hit them with boycotts and strikes. We have to do all these things simultaneously. We have to shut the system down. That's what they did to us with this pandemic. They shut the system down, and we're desperate just to have a Thanksgiving with our families. We're desperate to have a job and a roof over our heads. It's not just a matter of, we're not just even asking for, you know, the things that we want. I mean, we're just like, can we please just keep a roof over our heads? Can we eat every other day? You know, like that's where we're at. That's how they manipulate us. So, and they work together, mainstream media, the government, the secret services, CIA, the shadow government, FBI, NSA, together behind the scenes. They are coordinated in their efforts to screw us over, right? So we have to be coordinated in fighting back. If we do not coordinate together, because right now we have Black Lives Matter out in the streets, right? But who else is out there? Who else is putting the pressure on them right now? Because we need people out in the streets like that. We need people out there fighting like that. And we also need people that are hitting them in other ways. We need people to actually boycott and strike. And we need to support the people that are doing that, because going on strike is not an easy thing. To stand up to the person that's in charge of providing a roof over your head and food on the table to a certain degree, because I mean, let's face it, most jobs don't pay that. You got to go on, food stamps and stuff. But going up against your boss that provides healthcare during a pandemic, that takes a lot of freaking guts. So we have to stand behind those people. We need to start crowdsourcing these things. We have to start crowdsourcing strikes, and we have to start crowdsourcing education. We need lawyers. We need, tax people. We need people that know the system that can work on our side. So we need to start crowdsourcing and, education for, like providing scholarships and things for people like this. Like, the hospital here, CAMC, they're shady as all get out. Shelley Moore Capito's husband is on the board of directors, but they do one thing, which is if they will pay for your college education if you work for them for a certain amount of years. So I say, let's fund these people's education, or we'll fund, whatever, just help us out whenever we need help. I mean, you're not going to be like, constantly at our beck and call, but if we come into some legal trouble, let's say like, we fund, a lawyer. Okay. Well, you go out there, you do the work you need to do, but every once in a while, we're going to need your help when it comes to, some legal troubles that we have, how to fight back against these people. So, you get to make your money, you get the education, just help us out every once in a while. That's all I'm asking. So, I mean, that's what we're going to have to do, because I mean, this is just, we're past the point of voting, and we're past the point of asking. I mean, how many more centuries do we want to ask? Actually, we don't have centuries to ask, because we are on the brink of complete and total environmental collapse. And so if we don't get this right, I mean, we're not going to have anything. We're not going to have a voting system. It's not going to matter. So we got to get this stuff set right now. I mean, it's the foundation of our democracy, and it's been eroded through hybrid regime tactics to make sure that they can still go out there and tell us that we still have these things when we don't really have them. They promise us democracy, and they undermine it in every single way possible. And we know this. And look, I'm no fan of Trump, but they did to Trump exactly what they did to Bernie Sanders back in 2016. Look, I don't want a Trump. I don't want a Biden. I don't want any of these people. None of them have proven that they have our interests at heart. You know good and well that Trump only serves himself. He does not serve his country. He has no, moral imperative to take care of the people in his country or around the world. He has no moral imperative to stop the coups or the, regime changes or the for-profit wars. None of these people have an interest in the greater good. They don't have an interest in us. But these are exactly the kind of people that always make it into office, no matter what. And we can sit there, we can blame the Democrats, we can blame the Republicans, we can sit there and we can blame the third party people, but it's none of their faults, none of them. The fault lies within the system and who keeps propping the system up. And who keeps propping the system up? AOC, Joe Manchin, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Lindsey Graham. They'll never do anything to shut down the system, even if it's to go against their enemies. I mean, you'll see this when it comes to like the Republican and Democratic stuff, right? They will sit there and they'll call each other out on bullshit stuff. They'll never call each other out on the real stuff, right? Because they're just as guilty as the other party. They're just as guilty as the people they're calling out. So, I just, bless his heart. I know Jimmy Dore's just trying his best, but you know what? I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just don't see what asking them. I'm not a prideful person, but I've got my line in the sand. I have my line in the sand. And my line is I refuse to beg for anything. I'm not going to beg. I'll ask you. I'll ask for help. I have no problem asking for help when I need it. God knows I can't do, we all need each other when it comes to stuff. But I'm not going to beg. I'll ask you once. Maybe I'll ask you again as a reminder. But after asking a third time is begging. And we don't deserve to beg. We're better than that. We all bust our asses. We all do what we can. We're all trying our best to do what we're supposed to do. Nobody wants to be a degenerate. Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to be poor. Nobody wants to be addicted to drugs. Nobody wants any of this for themselves. When you were a kid, is that what you wanted to grow up to be? A sellout? Did you want to grow up to be a sellout? Did you want to grow up to work 3 jobs? Nobody wants this. But we have people that go along with it because, they're just trying to make it. But until we draw that line in the sand and say, look, I'm better than this. I don't have to stoop to this level. We're not going to change anything. And it's going to take something radical. It's going to take being very uncomfortable. And it won't be that uncomfortable unless if we all pitch in to help each other out, because we need to really stand in solidarity for the people that are putting themselves out there, for the journalists that are risking their lives to tell us the truth. We're going to have to, fund them. We're going to have to fund the people that are going on strike that need it. We're going to have to fund these people. And I know that it's really hard to do that right now, especially in a pandemic and everybody's losing their jobs. But if you can, anyway, if you have a neighbor that's on strike, offer to cook them a meal every once in a while. Like, look, I'll make you a meal on Saturdays and I'll bring it over to you. That kind of thing. Just anything that we can do. Here's $5 or here's $1 or something. Because these are the people that are really risking it. And we're going to have to get our finances in order to do this. Because like I said, it all comes down to finances. So we're going to have to start financing just like they do. They finance the Nancy Pelosi's, they finance the AOC's, right? Right. They all get together and throw money at the people they want in charge. Well, we all need to get together and throw money at the people that are really putting their feet to the fire. The people that are going out there and striking, we need a fund set up for people that are striking because like Amazon workers need to shut that shit down, but they can't because they have basic necessities that they have to meet. They have families they have to take care of. They have themselves that they need to take care of. So we need to crowdsource an Amazon strike. We need to crowdsource a Walmart strike. And I know that it's, even if it's not that much, even if you give a quarter, it's something. If everybody gives, a quarter to it, that would be enough. So let me go ahead and check in with chat and see where we're at. Assange, Chelsea Manning, Snowden. Oh my God. Beverly Jensen. Yes. We're punishing our whistleblowers. I know I know that Obama ran on transparency, but he did the exact opposite, and he punished every single whistleblower with either living on the run in other countries, or locking them up in prison. It's bad out there, but it's going to get worse. And I know I'm asking a lot of people, for asking them to boycott and strike and to crowdsource and things. But look, it's only going to get worse. It's going to get harder. And the longer that we wait to fight back, the worse it's going to get and the more resources that we're going to lose. Because every single day they erode the resources that we have, our time, our energy, our money. They have taken pretty much everything from us already. I mean, we don't have much to lose as it is. We don't have much to lose. So the longer we wait, the less resources that we're going to have and the less people we're going to have helping us, in this fight. So, that's all I'm going to say about it. You can look back at my earlier videos. I do videos periodically where I talk about, what we need for change, how to bring people on. But yeah, I've got I'll put it in the description after this. I have a Slack channel for anybody that's interested in helping, posting ideas or information that you need. So it's just a way for activists to get together and just talk about things, about, how to change things. So buy as little as possible. Yeah, Peter. But that's the problem right now. Like they don't give us enough money for us to buy extravagantly. Like we don't have enough money to even buy the things we need, let alone extra stuff. So that's the problem with boycotting right now is people just don't have the money to boycott anymore. We're already boycotting everything because we ain't got the money to pay for it. Bluebell says the people with nothing left to lose are the most dangerous. Never underestimate the plebs. Exactly. And Fight Club has its issues, but I do love the quote from Fight Club that says, it's only after everything that you're free to do. Only after you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. And it's true. I mean, once you've lost everything, once you've lost your, houses to the banks, once you've lost your job to the government, once you lose your health care, or if you had health care at all, what else do you have to lose? I mean, you only have everything to gain from fighting back. So, I mean, that's the predicament that they're putting us in right now. That's why you see people out in the streets more and more and more. But it has to be a coordinated effort that, we hit them on all sides, because that's what they do to us. They hit us on all sides. They hit us in our jobs. They hit us in our healthcare. They hit us in our wages. They hit us in our education. They threaten our children. They send us to war. So if we don't do any of that, it's not going to change. Not until we make them very uncomfortable. Not until we take away their chefs, chauffeurs, and their housekeepers, and their super PAC money dries up. That's when things change. So that's where we got to hit them. Find out who's funding those super PACs. I've been looking more into it. We have to find out, because those are the people that really control things. The politicians just say what they're paid to say. Okay, it's the corporations, it's the finances. This is a Wall Street problem that's out of control. Yeah. Who's it? Steely Steve says this country is a bad joke. It is. Yeah, America #1, and we're last in everything. Can you imagine? Look, I'm from West Virginia, and we come from look, statistically, we're the bottom of the barrel. Like, we have the highest obesity rates, the lowest education rates. Okay, like we are not good on paper. There's some good people live here, but when you look at the statistics, it ain't good. But can you imagine if West Virginia was just going around like, yeah, we're #1, we're the best, and we got to say what y'all got to do. We got to dictate what you do in California or Ohio or Oklahoma, wherever it is that you're at. I mean, like, can you imagine West Virginia? This is where we're at. I mean, This is where we're at. We have the bottom of the barrel running the show. So planning and building coalitions. And look, another part of this is coming down to community building, because I mean, we have so many people that are just, all of their energy is spent on surviving, right? All of their energy is spent, putting a roof over their head, or providing food for their kids and all this stuff. So they don't have time to research this stuff like I do. That's why I started my shows, because I wanted people that were busy. And, one of the reasons why, I just wanted people that were, busy, working 2-3 jobs, or people that were, had kids and didn't have much time. I tried to do a show to where I could give them, information that they needed, because you're not going to get that on your local news, and you're not going to get that on mainstream media. So I try to do, some information, just put things out there as I was learning it, so that way people could have that information, because nobody else was doing it. So that's why I was doing it. But the thing is like, they're so busy doing that, and they feel powerless to change anything. So if they have a group of people that says, look, we support you. If you want to go on strike, we support you. You don't have to worry about anything. Just stick it to the man. We're going to take care of you. Everything's going to be okay. Okay. Because you're not doing this just for you. You're doing this for all of us. If you take down Jeff Bezos, that helps all of us. So, we've got to do things like that. We have to make sure that our community is fed. And, and there's people out there that has property, and maybe we can start something to where, let us use your land to grow crops for our town, okay, in our community, and people in need. And look, we'll make sure that you'll get your share of potatoes, or green beans or corn or whatever, okay. But just let us use a portion of your land to grow these things, so that we can take care of our community, because they're not going to do it. People within our government is not going to provide food. We have people that are starving. Teachers at my son's school, they're sending home potatoes with the kids before Thanksgiving break. They're sending food home. When they went on strike, they're sending food home before Thanksgiving, because they really truly care about those kids, and they're trying to provide for them and make sure that they're fed, because they know that a lot of their kids in their classes don't get that opportunity. They don't have the opportunity to eat in their own homes. So they're trying to make sure that they're taken care of, and that we need more of that. And that's why when they went on strike, I didn't hear anybody that was saying anything against them, because they knew exactly what those teachers were about. They knew exactly that those teachers weren't striking because they were spoiled. They weren't striking because they didn't care about the kids. They were striking because they've done everything that they could. They've done so much with so little for so long. And they finally stood up together to fight back. And a lot of people, most of the people supported them in that. So, that's what we've got to do. We've got to stand behind those people that are doing those things. When they oppress one of us, they oppress all of us. So we got it. Even if it doesn't affect us, we think it doesn't affect us directly. So what if a teacher goes on strike? How does that, impact me? It does. It does. So, support any way that you can. We can talk about, more specifics of how and who and where we can, focus our money and support and things like that. But, these are just general things that we need to start thinking about. So, I'll put the link for the Slack channel in the description. I'm going to go ahead and close this down, because I've been going for about an hour. That's my usual time, is about an hour. Even though I say this is going to be really quick, and then an hour later I'm like, oh, that wasn't really quick. Oh, independent outsiders here. Bezos is building his power in a multitude of ways. Yes, he does. It's not just Amazon. He owns media. He is the smog of money. He is the dragon sitting on a hoard of gold and doing nothing with it. So anyway, Well, then check out Independent Outsider's work because he's doing a lot of great work when it comes to like direct democracy type stuff and just bypassing this whole system that we're in. So he's pretty knowledgeable. Check him out. I think Andy, are you doing your stuff on Facebook or because I haven't seen anything on YouTube? So I think all your stuff's like on Facebook and Become Ungovernable. Yeah, Bezos is building a political powerhouse in Seattle. Don't doubt it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close shop. No, what? Okay, wait, I gotta address this. Bluebell says Bezos has his own office at the Pentagon. I don't know if you're joking or if that's true because I can really see that happening. I don't doubt it for a second. Yes, Deb Della Piana on YouTube, Become Ungovernable. I think is it .gov? I think it's .gov, becomeungovernable.gov. And then we have our own, it's nonpartyvoters.gov. Oh, Indy's doing a show tomorrow. Is it on YouTube? If it is, I'll check it out. So anyway, yeah, Indy's been a longtime friend. He's been here since the beginning. Yeah, he does some really good work, especially when it comes to union stuff. He knows all about that. Oh, Peter Maranchi. They want us to die off. They don't care. It's less mouths to feed to them. That's how they see it. Michael says, my grandfather taught me that being Cajun was worthless. I don't know what that means. Yeah, right next to Zuckerberg and Dorsey. Yeah, they all work together. You know they do. They'll try to deny it, but they do. You know they do. It's not an accident that people get wiped from the internet, wiped from Twitter and Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. Oh, it's just a coincidence that we all decided to just deplatform a person. Oh, coincidence, huh? Anyway, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off. Thank you for everybody for watching. I've got a lot of new people in here, and that's awesome. I didn't really get to touch too much back in with the chat, but usually I do. But it was great having people in here, and thank you for watching and participating. And I'll catch you next time. I'll probably do a show probably before Sunday, so I'll see you then. All right. Send it. Bye, y'all.